Welcome to InTheVortex.Party, your live virtual hot seat podcast for manifestation masters looking to milk reality for everything it's worth. I'm your host, Nick Bro, and I'm here to help you find out where the law of attraction is going wrong so you can get it right. If you'd like to join in our next live call, register at http://InTheVortex.Party. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to another InTheVortex.Party call. I think this is call number 5 or 6, the last call of 2016. So thanks for joining us. The format for tonight's call is, again, the same format as previous weeks. We're going to start off by discussing a specific topic. This week's topic, by request, is understanding inspired action. And then after we discuss that topic, we're going to jump into the Q&A. In the Q&A, we can ask questions about tonight's topic, questions about law of attraction in general, or questions about anything you've got going on in terms of law of attraction where you feel stuck and where you might need some help. So again, that's the rundown for tonight. And again, I'd like to ask everybody to please keep your microphones muted until we get to the Q&A. So, there we go. So we're going to go ahead and start now. So as I mentioned, I'm kind of excited for tonight's topic because it's a really important topic and everybody's kind of familiar or aware of, inspired action, but very, very few people are actually taking inspired action. So it's an important topic to talk about. So I forget who suggested it last week or 2 weeks ago. But thanks for doing so. Maybe it was Miss Sanusi there. I see you waving and throwing your arms up. So first of all, so what is inspired action, right? So it's action that comes from a place of total alignment, right? It's action that's guided from source, right? It's sourced from your inner being, right? And most importantly, it's action that's taken for the joy of the action, right? Inspired action is action that feels good, that you want to take regardless of what the outcome is going to be. Okay? That's one of the signs that you're taking inspired action.
Can you repeat just what you said? I'm sorry.
Sure. So
the third.
Yeah. So the third point is inspired. When you take inspired action, it always feels good. It's action that even if you don't get the results you want, you're still enjoying the process of that action, right? You're taking that action because of the enjoyment of the action, not necessarily because of the end result that action may provide, right? Inspired action always feels good. It feels so good that you can't not take that action. Okay. Now, what isn't inspired action? Okay. Inspired action is not doing something with the goal of achieving a specific outcome, right? It's not doing something to solve a problem, even though it might solve a problem, right? If you're taking action to specifically try to correct a situation or solve a problem, if it's not truly inspired, then it's likely not inspired action. Right? It's likely action of efforting, right? And inspired action is not action you're doing because you feel like you have to do it, right? If it's truly inspired action, it's truly something you want to do and take, action you want to take, regardless of outcome, right? It should feel so good, you can't say no to taking that action, and it's an obvious step to make. Right? You don't have to figure out whether it's the right decision or not. It's an obvious right decision. Make sense? So if that action step, okay, if you're deciding to take action on a subject or on a course of action, and if that action step feels like effort, right, if it's unpleasant, if you're doing it simply to achieve a goal, if you're taking that action to fix or to solve a problem, if that action is tiring you out, right? If it brings up negative emotion, it's not inspired action, right? It's a path of resistance. It's not the path of least resistance, right? If you're doing something that doesn't feel good, it is likely not inspired action, right? And again, this whole concept of inspired action is a very hard concept to follow because our rational mind can't see how we can achieve our goals or manifest our desires without taking action, right? So learning to take inspired action is something that takes practice, right? And a bit of dedication, and it comes with habit and it comes with trust, right? So how do you really learn to take inspired action, right? Well, first you need to learn to stop efforting. Because if you're actioning all the time, if you're always working to try to solve your problems, then you can never tell the difference between truly inspired action and action of effort, because you're always in that action phase, right? You need to learn to trust, right? You need to remind yourself that this is a vibrational reality, right? Manifestations are purely vibrational. It doesn't matter how much action you take. It's not the action that brings the desires. It's the vibrational alignment, right? So there's a certain level of trust in non-action, right? A lot of people believe, well, if I sit here all day and do puzzles, right, how are my desires going to show up, right? And that's the ego mind saying, well, things don't show up unless I go actively do things, unless I create ads, unless I go out hunting for clients, right? Unless I start messaging people. That's how the ego perceives reality, and that's how we're taught reality works. But once you understand that reality is vibrational, right, you want to be in the receiving mode, right? Over-efforting in action takes us out of the receiving mode. So again, it's about trusting that in your non-action, you're going to receive those inspired action manifestations, right? Because those thoughts are manifestation, right? You have to understand that you're a blended being, right? A greater part of you is in the non-physical, right? If you're always taking action and you're always trying to get things to happen, right, you're not working with the greater part of you. You need to let the greater part of you do some work and then send you that inspired guidance, right? And that's a big puzzle piece that a lot of people are missing. Does that make sense? You guys are following me so far? Good. And a good example, if you're out in a field and you're trying to fly a kite, right? And the wind's not consistent, it's bursty. Do you stand there and just keep throwing the kite up in the air and keep running, hoping the kite's going to take off? Right? Or do you wait until you can feel the wind, feel the right gust where it feels right to throw the kite up, and then throw it up? Right? That's the inspired action, right? It's all about timing, right? Same thing if you're going surfing. You don't go out into the ocean and keep paddling, and keep standing up on your board hoping it's going to take off. You wait for the right wave to come along. You wait for the right timing, right? So when it comes to action, we're not waiting for that right timing. We're not waiting for that feeling of, yes, this is what I want to do. This is the time to do it, right? Lately in her seminars, Abraham's been saying that even when you manifest a thought, right, or an inspiration, give it some time for the energy to build before taking action, right? You don't have to act on everything the minute it comes in. Wait for that perfect timing. So again, you need to learn to be patient and trust that that non-physical part of you is doing the work. But again, that level of trust is only built through experience, right? I can sit here and hammer it into you guys all day, but until you start experiencing it for yourself, it's not going to happen, right? So what I suggest is commit 4 weeks or 6 weeks, right? Commit to not taking any action on your business, right? Commit to working at a vibrational level. Commit to feeling good, right? Until the inspiration comes in that you just can't not act on it, right? And again, it'll take a little bit of time, right? But it's about building that level of trust. And a lot of what I see is happening is that as humans, there's desires that we want, right? or there's problems we want to have solved, and we focus on those desires and we focus on those problems, and that puts us in the energy of the problem, right? And because you're focused on the problem because you want to fix it, you're in the energy of the problem, which puts you in efforting mode, right? Which takes you out of alignment, right? And you're no longer in alignment, so you can't receive the inspired action, right? So people aren't receiving the inspired action, not because they don't want it, right? But because they're not in alignment, because they're busy efforting, because they're busy trying to solve the problems, right? That's why getting off the subject, focusing on doing things that feel good, right? Getting in the energy of the solution is what allows that inspiration to come in, right? For the inspired action. Does that make sense? So again, your inner being is there trying to send you inspired action, but as long as you're stuck in efforting mode, right, it's very hard to hear it, right? So the key to receiving inspired action, right, is in learning to chill out, right? You need to step back. You need to stop efforting so much, right? Chill out a little bit, or maybe chill out a lot for most people, right? My commitment for myself in 2017, right? My number one priority is crank up my level of chill, right? My goal is to go for 1 massage a week and go for 1 float a week, right? The more chill I get, the more I recognize that I get in the receiving mode, the more inspiration shows up, the more clients show up, the more money shows up, the more of everything shows up, right? And it's by doing less and feeling good because those inspirations that drive success come in, right? And that's a big puzzle piece, again, that a lot of people are missing. Does that make sense? And again, it'll come, you've got to take that step, right? Try operating out of only inspired action for a month and see what happens. Build that trust, right? I know that there's a few people on this call that send me emails this week who are seeing the progress, who are seeing the results from stepping back, right? Now, how do we recognize that a manifested thought is inspired action, right? There's 2 main ways. One, that inspiration feels so good, you can't not act. And second, that manifestation, that manifested idea, that manifested thought comes from out of the blue. It's random. So if I'm sitting here and I feel like I don't have enough clients and I'm trying to figure out how to bring in more clients, how to make more money, well, because I'm focused on the problem, I'm in the energy of the problem, right? So my rational mind might come up with some good ideas, but at this place, I'm operating from a place out of alignment, okay? Now, if I'm driving down the highway or I'm taking a shower and I'm thinking about puppy dogs and sloths, and all of a sudden, this inspiration comes in, this idea comes in around my business, when I'm not thinking about my business, that's likely a thought that comes in from your inner being, right? That's an intuitive thought because it's random, because you're not in the energy of the problem at that time, right? Those are often the thoughts that you really want to follow up on because they'll usually feel really good too, right? So again, start to recognize whether you're in the energy of the solution or the energy of the problem, right? If you notice you're trying to solve things, right, try to step back, right? Set your intent, focus on other things that are working out for you, things that feel good, right? And allow those bursts of inspiration to show up, right? And when those bursts of inspiration randomly show up, take action on them when it feels right? When it feels good. Does that make sense? Okay, so that concludes tonight's topic on inspired action. Hopefully I gave you guys lots to think about. So let's jump into the Q&A. If you have a question, there should be a little hand icon you can click on. If you can't find the little hand icon, wave and hopefully I'll see you. Or post something in that text, the group text chat, and I'll hopefully see that there too. So I see Carolyn's already got her hand up. Go ahead, Carolyn.
Okay, cool. Hi, guys. So my question is about, it's kind of 2 questions. So first, what about when it comes to things that we all have to do, even if it's minor? Like, for example, I have to re-register my car, just like typical annual thing that you have to do. And I don't feel really discouraged that I have to do all the paperwork, but it's not necessarily the most exciting thing.
Yeah, and I don't think going to register or renew your vehicle license is ever going to be an exciting thought. But you don't want to ignore action that's going to create more resistance, right? So if it's going to bring you to a lower feeling place, right? I mean, not all action we're going to take in our life is going to be inspired action, I don't think, right? But things like renewing your car or deciding whether you want to have spaghetti or lasagna for supper, I wouldn't be too concerned about whether it's inspired action or not, even though it could be.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
So I would say it's not about, ignoring the things you need to do, right? Obviously, if you feel like you need to renew your vehicle, then you got to go do it. But maybe, some days you'll feel more inspired to go do it than others.
Yeah, because I definitely have noticed in the past when I was worrying about things and trying to figure out things even more, it seemed like I did have more to do. And nowadays it seems like those kind of things that I have to do no matter what, annual things, bills and whatever, it seems like I have to do actually less. It just works out. Like they'll send me an email when I have to read it, mark it on my calendar and whatnot.
Yeah, and that makes sense because if you're acting more out of inspired action, you're going to be more in a place of alignment. Because if you're always trying to solve problems, always trying to do things, always trying to make manifestations happen, you're always going to be in the energy of the problem, right? And when you're into the energy of the problem, you're going to be out of alignment, right? So it takes you out of flow, not just for the problem you're focused on, but a lot of the other things you have going on too, right? So again, it's a lot of the inspired action topic relates to the whole being in the energy of the problem versus the energy of the solution, right? Being in the energy of the solution is what allows for a lot of the inspired thoughts and the inspired actions to come through, but it's also what's going to keep you in high alignment.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you share a little bit about your journey over the last month or so? And because a lot of your focus has been shifting out of, the doing to the allowing, right?
Yeah. So basically, I think you guys remember from these calls, I was having a pretty hard time with the receiving part because I was really excited about the manifesting and, making things happen. And then all of a sudden, before I knew it, I was in huge resistance because I was way too focused on what I wanted. Sorry, I got a dog here. So recently I just had no choice but to give up, and these calls really helped me. So I've just been literally focusing on just not thinking about what I want. And I probably I do similar stuff to what Nick does. And I probably have sold in my lifetime about 3 or 4 packages for clients. And in the past 5 days, I've sold about 3 and possibly 2 more. So basically, everything changed, and all it was that I just stopped thinking about what I wanted, basically.
Totally. And that's a common thing that I see in people who practice law of attraction for a long time, is they're so busy trying to mold the reality and manifest things, and they're so focused on law of attraction that they're stuck in that energy of the problem, right? So sometimes it's just as simple as taking a break from trying to manifest, enjoying life, feeling good, being present, partying a little bit, and then everything starts to show up, right?
Yeah.
Again, it's like it was a perfect example of being in the energy of the problem versus being in the energy of the solution.
Yeah, and on top of that, I also feel a lot better because every time I started to think about what I wanted or trying to make it happen, I didn't even realize how bad it was making me feel. And how on edge it was making me feel. And just by getting more into the receiving mode, I'm naturally finding myself being more present.
Awesome. Absolutely. Yeah, because it's like you don't have to try as much. It just happens.
Yeah, totally.
Really.
And I just had one more thing I want to ask about that. So when it comes to times when we're not in alignment.
Say that again. Sorry.
When it comes to times when we're not in alignment, like we just know we're having a bad day.
Yeah.
Would you say that inspired action is those actions that feel almost relieving for us?
I think when you're not in alignment, you're much less likely to receive inspired action, right? So, like Abraham says, if you're not in alignment, go take a nap or do something that feels good. And then once you're doing something that feels good, that inspired action is a lot more likely to come in, right? But, maybe you can get inspired action for something that is going to help you feel a lot better at the time too.
Yeah. Awesome.
Makes sense? Thanks for sharing. That was good.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Go ahead, Andrea.
Okay, so Carol, I always am so interested in what you have to say, except it's really hard to hear you because I'm a little bit deaf and a little bit older now. So I wanted to just comment on that. But in this whole thing, okay, so next, I thought about a new offer and I'm really excited about it, right? And I really want to be fully in alignment and getting it out there. I'm not about, being in that space of efforting. So what tips?
Oh, are you still there? Anybody else here? Did we lose her? Yeah, I think we lost Andrea. We'll have to come back to her. Danielle, I think I saw you waving your hand there for a question. Yeah, you go ahead. We'll come back to Andrea after.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, how you doing?
Hi, fine, thank you. I've had two situations kind of this week where I had really inspired action. For instance, one was literally just going into a car dealership, which I've kind of never done in my life, and kind of, had a look at the car that I have been, really want to get and stuff. And so had really, it was just, such a great experience. And then kind of the follow-up to that has been really crap. Complete come down. I just feel and then all the thoughts start coming through. It's how are you gonna afford it, la 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 la,
And that's okay, because when Abraham talks about the path of least resistance, right, it doesn't mean the path that's going to be the easiest and the smoothest necessarily, right?
Okay.
So you going, your inner being creating this inspired action to go to the car dealership.
Yeah.
Right? For you, it might have felt really good to be there, but your inner being may have wanted you to go there to help you bring up,
I'm back.
emotions. Okay, we'll come back to you after this, Andrea.
Okay, thanks.
So your inner being may have wanted you to go to the dealership to experience a specific contrast to help you deal with that contrast, right? So to help you grow and expand. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So inspired action, even though it sounds really good, and usually it is good, right? But again, it's to guide us to where we want to go. But sometimes, the path from here to there is going to involve, road bumps, right? To help us expand in the way we need to expand to get where we want to go.
Cool. Okay.
Does that make sense? Does that help?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Andrea.
Okay, well, thank God you record this. All right. So I apologize, computer froze. My question is this. I'm really excited. I have created a new offer.
Okay.
So I'm feeling this joy and this freshness and this excitement, right?
Yep.
So I really want to know if there's any tips on how that I can place myself in the receiving of the inspired action. And my intentions of what I would like to do with this is be posting in my Facebook groups that I'm really active in, so on and so on.
Okay.
Okay? Because for me, Nick, a pattern is efforting.
Okay.
Okay?
So can you explain, let's dig into your pattern a little bit, right? Because
all right.
What I wonder is, was it truly inspired action to create the offer, or were you creating the offer in the hopes that you were going to achieve an outcome?
No, truth.
Yep.
I'm at this place where everything, I'm coming at my business now from a fresh new space. So that being said, I need to have something to be able to offer to those that I can serve.
Okay. And are you going to be happy with the outcome of the offer regardless of how many people sign up?
Yes.
Okay. So I would say that's inspired action because you're enjoying creating the offer, you're enjoying putting the offer out there, right?
Okay.
So you're fully detached from,
I have no attachment to the outcome, but I do need to ask this because I need to know if this is a slippery slope or not.
Okay.
So as I was playing with my offer, right?
Yeah.
I like to play with the numbers. I want to, like I have a set number that I really would like to manifest dollar-wise.
Okay.
And I took a look at what, things that I need to pay and yada, 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 and all of those things that we actually do need the money for.
Yeah.
So I thought, let me just play with numbers. Let me just see, what it would take, blah, blah, blah. And I was getting very excited because I realized, I don't even really need like a whole lot of people to really jump on this offer. Like everything about it is exciting me.
Okay, that's great. That's good news.
Okay.
Yep.
So then I'm good?
I think so. I mean, if everything's exciting, right, follow that flow.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to the financial, my only word of warning
Yes.
would be to not limit, your ability to attract finances. Don't attach your financial situation to the offer and to your business, right? Be open to money showing up in any way it wants to show up.
Right. Yes. Got you.
Keep that separate than the business and doing the business for the joy of doing the business.
Okay. Thank you, Nick. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Go ahead, Megan.
Yeah, I was looking for what you were just talking about a minute ago about the path of least resistance isn't necessarily the easiest and smoothest. Just a little more clarification on that, because I would think that if I'm feeling uneasy and not smooth, that I'm efforting.
Say that again. So if it's not smooth, you feel like you're efforting?
That I'm efforting, yeah. So that it is resistance.
Right. So let's say you want to be the world's best addiction counselor. Okay. And you make that decision, at a soul level before you're born, if that happens. Okay.
Okay.
How do you become the world's best addiction counselor?
Being an addict.
By experiencing addiction.
Right.
So that to me is an example of how, it's not necessarily an easy path, right? That path includes contrast, but again, that's necessary contrast to take you to where you want to go.
So is there always contrast to get to where you want to go?
Abraham says no, right? So it's all about vibration and alignment. But I think that's probably a pretty complicated, hard to answer question.
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, manifesting a castle is no different than manifesting a button, right? So manifesting a button sounds like it should be pretty painless. So I think manifesting pretty much anything could be painless. But again, I can't say for sure.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Something interesting that I was listening to last night, a video was talking about, I've always believed that, the universe is always reflecting back to you, right? And it reflects to you back in circumstances. So relationships, if you're feeling a lot of powerlessness, you're going to attract a relationship where you might feel controlled. If you feel a lot of stuckness, you might attract money issues. I always believe that if you're not getting the hint in your reality out here, in your external reality, then you're going to start manifesting the physical illness. You're going to start manifesting the contrast at a physical standpoint.
It gets worse and worse.
It gets worse and worse, and I think the last resort is the physical. Because you can ignore all the outer world stuff, right? Or you can try to, but you can't ignore the physical. So I think when the universe is going into the physical, it's saying, okay, you're really not listening. Let's go to the physical, and we're really going to get you. Make sense?
Yeah.
Does that answer your question okay?
Yeah,
Okay, thanks. Good question, too. Go ahead there, Paul. Oh, you're gonna have to unmute your microphone first. Oh, I gotcha. There we go.
Yep.
How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Good. Okay. So this is good because you just mentioned feelings of stuckness and money issues, and that's what I'm experiencing at the moment.
Yeah. Money. So symptoms of money usually relates, and again, we've done one of our previous calls was all around money, but money usually relates to powerlessness, stuckness, and the two things you need to look at is clearing those emotions, giving as little attention to money as possible. And then the other thing too is a lot of positive aspect lists to get into the emotion of freedom. So if you've got 5 things going on, the money that makes you feel stuck, right?
Yep.
4 other things that make you feel free, because we're humans, right? And money's always in our face and we like to focus on our problems. We're always focusing on the money, right?
Well, I think what you've just said makes sense because I'm kind of in a job that I'm waiting for it to end.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So if I hold it out, there's likely to be a big payoff at the end.
Yeah.
But we don't know when that's going to be. It could be 6 months. It could be a year.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of in this job. But I don't want to leave because if I leave of my own accord, then I miss out on this payoff.
Totally. Yeah. And I've been in your shoes before too. So the biggest advice is spend as much time as you can every day, even if it's like 15, 20 minutes doing positive aspect lists, getting into the vibration of freedom.
Yep. Okay, good. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then I would go back. There's a bonus call in the podcast, the first call that's been uploaded. It's all about wealth and money. So you might want to check that out too.
Yeah, I will. I just discovered this today. It's when I worked some things out yesterday, then all sorts of things have started to happen since then. And then I found this call. So yeah,
Awesome.
it's
Good.
moving in the right direction. Cool.
Good. So
okay, thanks. Huh?
Problem. Good question. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks. I'll mute the mic.
All right. Next question. I saw somebody else waving their hand. CG, go ahead. Oh, let me unmute
Hear
you.
me?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, great. Hi. I guess it was 2 weeks ago, our last call, and I was talking to you about, how stuck I was, regarding money. And I was like looking for a job, for a new job desperately, and I could not find it. And I guess I've let it go last week because a job came to me through a friend of mine.
Awesome.
So now what is happening is that I cannot quit the job I have right now because I have to give my 2 weeks notice, which is absolutely fair. So I'm going to be working on those 2 jobs at the same time, which can demand a huge physical effort because I'm a waitress and I'm going to be working like 4 doubles on a row in New York City. So it can be pretty tense, even more during that period of time. And I said to myself, I was very happy and I appreciate that new place where I'm going to be working because it's a much better place. And at the same time, I realized that, I'm still in the effort of getting money. Yeah. Like, it's going to be very tiring physically. So I'm really appreciating and everything. And at the same time, I want to face, what I am still attracting to me, which is money equal effort.
Right.
So my question is how I understand the how, but apparently it's very hard for me to let go and let the ease, and the soothing part of money to come to me with no effort.
So how long were you actively efforting and looking for a job? Would you say approximately?
Well, I got to that new place in September and I really started looking for it in October. September.
So about 2 months.
Yeah.
So you spent 2 months working hard at finding a job. And all of a sudden, you hopped on one of our last calls. We talked about efforting, letting go. You let go. And all of a sudden, a friend messages you and finds you a job.
Yeah.
Right? So you see that connection with letting go, not efforting, how all that efforting got you nowhere, and when you stopped trying to effort, a job just showed up?
Yeah, I get that.
Okay.
However, it seems to me hard to attract the money I want, in meaning that the job that I really want to do.
Okay, so when it comes to attracting the money, right, because that's what you really want, right?
Yes.
So you work for the job, you just need to do the exact same thing for the money. Right? So what I suggest is work on getting into the vibration of ease, right?
Yeah.
Work on getting into the vibration of freedom.
Yeah.
Right? Don't anticipate that working those jobs for the next 2 weeks is going to be really hard, right? Set your intent for it to be easy.
Yeah.
Focus on it being easy because you don't know what could happen tomorrow. You get a phone call tomorrow saying that your old job said, oh, we hired somebody, we don't need you for the next 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Things can shift like that.
I would not mind to do the two jobs at the same time for the next 2 weeks because I need the money.
Okay, yeah. So for you, there's resistance around money and effort, right? Part of you doesn't believe that money can just show up.
Yeah.
Right? So recently there was an Abraham clip about a girl who found a $9,000 diamond, right? And it's what allowed her to go to the Chicago seminar, right? So do you believe in it, that things just are flukes, things just randomly happen, or do you believe in law of attraction?
I believe the love the love of attraction, definitely.
Okay, so she had to be in alignment with finding that money in some way.
Okay.
Correct?
Yes.
Right? And so do you believe that the universe discriminates and says, well, you know, with this girl, we're going to throw $9,000 diamonds at her, but you know what? For Gabby and Carol and CG, you know, we're going to make them have to effort for their money.
Yeah, no, I get that. Of course not.
Right. So again, so for you, it's just kind of a mindset shift and realizing that this new job showed up so easily, right, through a friend, and money can show up just as easily. Right? So your main focus, again, is getting off the topic of money and getting on the topic of ease and freedom.
Okay. All right.
Makes sense? And what I would do for the new job is create an avatar. So spend half an hour to an hour writing out what your new job feels like and how much you're enjoying it and how much you're getting paid and how much you're enjoying your coworkers, the emotions you're feeling there. Pre-pave your new role.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good question. Go ahead, Gabby. I think I saw you waving your hand there.
Hello, good evening. I don't know where to start. So many things happened in the last 2 weeks, sort of up and down and amazing, and I don't know.
Okay.
So
give us an update. Give us like a quick turbo update since the last time.
I'll try and be short. So 2 weeks ago, I mentioned in the call that I manifested a job out of sort of, that was back in August, where I was a little bit desperate and, you know, fearful and da-da-da. Whereas, and you said it was an old vibration. I manifested a job that was not really to my liking, not the people weren't great. And then I was wondering during the last call, should I leave? Should I stay? What do I need to do here? Kind of to shift to the next level and get out of this. And why is this? It felt like a repetition again. Why am I still here?
Yeah.
And that's why I think it was just a lot of resistance that I felt towards the people, because I felt like I shouldn't be there anymore. And then what I decided, okay, I shifted my attitude to actually to see the good things in it, to see the blessings in it, and all the things and all the people that I had problems with. I had one day where I decided, no, I'm going to see the good in it. And it was the first day where I actually really enjoyed myself. And I made a decision, okay, I want to stay because it's a blessing. But if something better comes along, I will take that. And then I had a really great day, my first great day. On that, and then I had another job that came up for that week on one of the days, which I took. And I said I can't make it. They were fine with it. But on that on that day when I decided, I had a really fun day, and I started this new job. I was on this new job, which was better and easier. And I received a call from the management to say, we received feedback from the team that you're difficult to work with, that you create negativity, and it would be better if you don't come back. And I was like, huh? That was when I made the decision I want to stay, and when I actually started to enjoy myself, and when this other job was there. But that really kind of threw me, because I'd never been sort of let go before, and it felt bad that they felt bad about me, you know, all the people there, and that's not what I'm intended to do, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I thought, no, I don't want to leave it like that. And I stood up for myself, because in my view, I did nothing. Okay, I may have come across as a little bit grumpy maybe, or unhappy, but I didn't do anything wrong, I felt. So I stood up for myself. And so after 2-3 long chats with that manager, she said, okay, are you saying that you would like to come back and try again and da-da-da? And I was like, yes. So I went back. I changed my relationship. So I made amends with, because I wanted to leave, if I leave, on good terms, and kind of I wanted it to be my decision. So I went back. The people were suddenly really nice. Everyone was really nice, and So I decided to go back. But during the time when they said, there were 2-3 days in between when I went back and they said they don't want me, I received the first call. I went to, a job showed up on the same day. 2 auditions showed up. So the next day I went to this audition. It was something that I'd always, like, really easy for me to do, playing football in a commercial. I did it, and then the day I went back, 2-3 days went past. The day I went back, kind of feeling like I want to make it right and I went back, but still didn't feel amazing about being there. I received the call to say that I got the audition, I got that part, and it was my first ever. I tried to manifest this for months now, or years, and it's really well paid commercial, like really, really well paid. But on the day when I went back, so for me it feels like, and that every time, and this happened even this week now, it's like I want to let go, and still I'm not letting go in a way. I still went back.
And that's what I was going to say, is all these little manifestations are happening on letting go, right? Because you're switching your focus from, okay, I don't want this, I want this role. I want to go back here. You're letting go of the other job, and then the other job comes to fruition. Right?
But more things even happened, because then I went back and it was okay, because I had a few shifts afterwards. And then I decided, okay, but still I don't want, okay, I made this right, but I don't want to stay here. I want to, because I had other things lined up, like other job offers even, like other things came up where I want, the old versus the new.
Yeah.
And I decided, okay, for this week, I'm going to focus on the new. So I call, and I made the decision, I want to call up and say that I can't make these dates. I'm happy to go in for the other dates, but I can't make these dates because I wanted to prioritize the future, right? The solution. And I called up and they said, no, sorry, you can't do that. And, we've had this problem, you've committed to this, and And then, there was another thing, a future thing, a workshop with a really well-known casting director that I really wanted to do. And I thought, okay, this is another thing I want to prioritize if it comes up. And it was fully booked, but I was on the waiting list. And whenever someone drops out of the workshop, you receive an email. But it's so much in demand that it's booked within 5 minutes. So if you don't catch it within 5 minutes, then that's it. Someone else is taking your place. And that happened 3-4 times around that weekend. And I thought, okay, if I'm meant to be there, it will come up, right? It will just happen. And then on the day when I rang up to say the office again, to say, I'd like to prioritize this week for this other work and and when she said, no, you can't do that. And I said, okay, I'll have to go in maybe just tomorrow, because she said, because it's too short notice, because it was the next day. I said, okay, I'll just come in because of commitment. I thought, okay, I have to show commitment. I make that decision. Okay, I show commitment and then I hang up the phone a couple of hours later. On the phone, when you go into emails, usually you have to go into an email to open it up. An email just popped up. I didn't open that page, nothing. With that, there was saying there's a space on that workshop again. And then I clicked on it. I thought, okay, it was one of these old emails where you click on it and it was already booked again. I clicked on it and there was a free space. So again, it was like a way out of this. It was like decisions, old, new. And I decided to go for commitment this time, because I thought I can't just walk away last minute and anyway. I went back today to show commitment, and I thought today would be my last day, but I want to make it a really good day.
Yeah.
And all the people that I pushed away in a way before, that I thought I don't want to be like them, and it's true, I don't, I had so much fun with them today. I sort of embraced, I don't want to stay where they are, and I don't want to but it was the fact that I felt so bad in the beginning about this, my fear of ending up in that place.
So
I had so much fun with them today, and now I'm again at the same place. Tomorrow I have to make a decision. Do I stay for the last week, or do I leave?
Yeah, and there the advice is to let it go, right? I mean, you're seeing the obvious benefit of letting go, right? Set your intent, so what do I do? And then get off the topic and let the answer find you.
So that means, because I'm thinking, it's not about the money. Even fear of money was there a little bit, but it's not about that. I feel that can show up, but it's about, I don't want the situation to repeat again. It's about, do I have to show commitment? Because I can do that for the next week if I have to, but it feels like effort.
Yeah, I would say do exactly what feels good for you, right? Follow the flow, whatever feels best.
So if I let go, hopefully, yeah, I will upset them, and I feel bad for kind of not committing or finishing the commitment in a way.
And would Abraham say that whose emotional state is more important, yours or theirs?
I know. But maybe that's exactly what I have to learn, because another thing that again also happened, that job, the commercial job that I booked, because I was offered another job as well, which is again an older job, but just for one day.
Yeah.
It happened to fall exactly on the same day again as this commercial job. So today I had to call, and it's only today that they confirmed that it's going to be on that same day.
Yeah.
So I had to call this old agency, another agent, today to say, sorry, I can't make it. And they did the same thing as this other job did. Sorry, you can't make that. You can't. They were really horrible. And I said, sorry, and left it. I think it's also about not caring so much about what other people feel.
I would say don't overthink it. And I would say just feel it out and see which option feels the best, right? And feel like if you don't have to come to a conclusion in this moment, set your intent, sleep on it, and see what would come to you by itself without being in the energy of the problem. Okay, yeah, go ahead, CG.
I was wondering, when you have like your everyday kind of job for money, I would say, to pay your bills, and then you want to expand a new career, like you did.
Yeah.
How do you do the transition?
The worst thing you can do is quit your job if you don't have to, right? And then try to make it work, because then there's a financial dependence that causes resistance, right? So the best thing to do is work on manifesting that new job, getting in alignment with that new job, allowing that new job to begin to show up, and then transition with the path of least resistance.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Danielle. There was no questions, and now there's a lot of questions coming up. What's wrong with you guys? Go ahead, Danielle.
I was just wondering, can you talk a little bit more about, you said about creating an avatar for kind of what you would like your job to be, or that kind of thing? Could you expand on that a little?
Just spend a little bit of time. So most people are familiar with doing that for like relationships, right? So if you're trying to attract a partner, writing down all the aspects you want in a partner.
Right.
So kind of the same thing, but do it to describe a job, right?
Okay.
The important thing is to speak as if, right?
Mm-hmm.
Speak as if you're already in that role, and use a lot of emotion. So don't just describe the physical aspects of the job, but describe how you feel, how the coworkers make you feel, right? How it brings up feelings like you're good enough, satisfaction. Use lots of emotions when you do it.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
All right. You're welcome. Go ahead, Carolyn.
So this is kind of more on the efforting part, but is it possible that you can be efforting when it comes to planning out your future? Like, for example, that's another thing that had tripped me up, is I may not have been thinking about my immediate desires, but I would be thinking about like how this would work out in a couple years, and then how that would work out a couple years from that.
Yeah, I think it's better off focusing further in the future sometimes. So let's say that you want to start a business and run a franchise. That's your ultimate goal, right? But from a logical standpoint, you need to make step one work, which is create one franchise that's profitable, right? So let's call that step one. If you put all your focus on step one, that step one may not be the logical step or the path of least resistance to owning the franchise.
Gotcha.
Right? So if you're putting all your focus on a step that might be the wrong step, from the rational, logical mind perspective, that might be the step that you think you see to get to what you really want.
Mm-hmm.
But by ignoring the how and focusing truly on what you really want, you'll be on that path instead, right? So oftentimes we get tripped up in thinking, well, I really want clients, so how do I get clients? Well, I have to create Facebook ads, right? And then you put all your focus on Facebook ads, but you're not open to receiving other inspirations, right? The real path of least resistance. So that's why you simply want to focus on the what you want, right? And try to ignore the hows, because oftentimes the hows get us stuck. And it's not our job to figure out the hows. Our inner being and the universe puts us on that path of least resistance. We just want to feel good and allow that inspired action for us to follow to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Definitely.
Awesome. Okay, good question.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Miss Sanusi.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm great. Thank you.
Good.
So so a lot of things have been manifesting. I actually, I feel like, and what I'm experiencing is that where I am in life right now, everything that I want is kind of has shown up. And now I'm looking at how to make that happen. And I know when I say make it happen, I mean really be successful at it. I mentioned before I'm an aspiring coach, and I've recently launched my network marketing business, which, I love the products. I believe in the products, and there's so much potential there. And I'm having conversations with prospects who are saying I need this product. This is great. This would be great for me. Or, the product could help them with whatever they're dealing with. And however, they're not.
Oh, we still there? Did we lose you?
Around that.
Sorry, can you repeat that again? You froze up for a second there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant, okay, so I have prospects who are very much interested in my product.
Yeah.
And what they're dealing with, for example, it's like they're the perfect candidate for it, but they're not signing up. They're not saying yes and committing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how does that make you feel?
Frustrated.
Okay. And how much time are you spending reflecting on clients not signing up versus clients signing up? So you're spending, if 0 was the amount of momentum towards you. So how do I explain that? So do you say you spend 50% of the time or more focusing on clients signing up or clients not signing up?
I see that I spend probably 50% of the time thinking what would have them sign up? So them not signing up, yeah.
And does that put you in the energy of the problem or the energy of the solution?
The problem.
Right. So that's where you want to step out of, right? So if you had clients signing up, how would that feel?
Amazing.
Okay.
For me and for them. And I know for them, for sure.
Okay. So give me some more emotions. It'd feel amazing. What else? Would you feel satisfied, excited?
I would feel satisfied, fulfilled, excited.
Those are the vibrations. Those are the emotional set points you want to reach for. So spend time in those emotions every day, right?
Okay.
Positive aspect lists.
Mm-hmm.
Stop ignoring the fact that you haven't signed any clients yet.
Okay.
Okay. The universe knows you want clients, right? That intent's been set.
Yes.
Right? So focus on feeling good and allow the inspiration to show up. Don't try to force it. Don't try to make it happen.
Okay.
Cool?
All right. Awesome.
Okay, good luck.
Wait. One more thing while I have you here. So I also mentioned I work as an executive assistant at a job, and believe me, I won't quit, because I make 6 figures. Thank you, Jesus. And I'm looking to have to make that much, if not more. My vision is just unlimited financial abundance and just freedom.
Yep.
So, however, sometimes I feel frustrated being at my job because I'm I know what I want. I just want this to to happen already.
Okay. So I would do some emotional clearing work around frustration.
Okay.
And I would add to your to-do list for your daily stuff to write about positive aspects around your job.
Okay. Thank you.
Enough? Good.
Yes.
Thanks for your question and your update.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Andrea.
All righty. So Nick, back to, because I'm a little perplexed.
Okay.
So, business owner, if I was to do a business plan for my business, it would want me to map out certain things that are going to create revenue, right? And we're going to have to put that focus on numbers and money.
Okay.
So I'm like really confused, Nick,
Okay.
about doing that, because that would be, I really want to take a look at my business. I want to make a plan for 2017 in terms of offers, pricing, you know, the amount of clients that I want to take on, or the amount, if I'm doing a group program, the amount of people, and then it comes back to the number. So
does all that planning work feel good?
it's a little bit scary. So sometimes for me, I'm not always in that space of feeling good, because there's that part of me that feels, oh, you can't really do this, Andrea. Yeah, I get scared. And then I have to really, not effort, but really kind of take on a few small tasks to break it down so it's not feeling overwhelming to me.
Yeah, and that's where stuff like the clearing work comes in, right? You don't want to allow fears and negative emotions to hold you back.
Okay.
So something you need to ask yourself when inspired action comes up is, you know, is this truly inspired action? Would it feel really good to do that? And if not, are there fears that are present that are holding me back?
Got you. Okay. Because they can come and stand in between, can they not?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, so we just had a flood of questions. Go ahead, Gabby.
That kind of reminded me of because I started thinking of what I should do now, right, in this situation. Fear of letting go. If I have that fear of letting go of this old whatever, and if it's to do with fear of, I don't know, something about pleasing people maybe as well, and fear of being alone. I don't know, I've always had
fear of letting people down.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know why I'm so afraid of letting go.
Yeah, I would maybe journal on it and see what comes up.
Okay. And then that will clear it?
Well, do the journaling and see if there's emotions that come up. Sometimes journaling is enough. Other times you may need to tap it out or work it out or do some positive aspect lists. But if you're lacking the clarity in terms of why you're having that issue moving forward, the first step I think would be to try journaling on it and see what comes up.
But maybe it's also a fear of, because it's also the money, I guess. Still.
Yeah. Sounds like there's a lot of different aspects around that.
Okay.
Yeah. So ask some questions, right? If I let go, you know, what's the worst thing that could happen, right? If I let go, how does that feel unsafe, right? If I disappoint these people, how does it feel unsafe?
Do you know what? It's also what just came up. If I let go, I have a fear of maybe doing something wrong, making a mistake.
Maybe being judged, right? Feeling like you're going to make the wrong decision.
Wrong. That's it. Wrong decision. But for myself, not so much for, you know, because I don't want to go in the same loop.
Yeah. So I just remind you that there is no wrong decision and there is no wrong path. Every path you take is still going to bring you to the same place if you're at the same vibration, right? So trust that there is no wrong decision, and as long as you just keep following what feels good for you, you're still doing okay.
I think that's something, yeah, wrong decision, fear of making wrong decisions.
Yeah.
Why, I don't know. But
yeah, so journal on it, and if we need to tap on it, then maybe that can come up at some point.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thanks. Any more questions for tonight? We probably have time for one or two more. Oh, there's a hand. Okay, go ahead, CG.
Well, talking about, this new job I have and so on. Now, if I really stop thinking about, the money to pay my rent and so on, the money that I owe and everything, what I really would like today is to have all the money I need so I can buy a ticket, go overseas, and be with my family for the holidays. That's really the authentic.
Okay. So my suggestion there is to just set that intent and be open to it showing up in any way possible.
Okay. Thank you.
Makes sense. All right, any other final questions? Going once. Last chance for 2016 questions? No? Okay, so I guess that's a wrap for tonight. Oh, I did mention I was going to give away a couple of copies of my book. Before that, I'm going to thank you guys for joining me. The next call will likely be the second or third week of January, once Christmas holidays are done. So again, thanks for joining us on the call, and I hope to see you guys there. That's it for today's episode. Thanks for listening, and much appreciation for everyone who jumped in on the call. If you want to participate in future calls, suggest a call topic, or be notified of our next episode, be sure to subscribe at http://InTheVortex.Party, or come hang out in our InTheVortex.Party Facebook group. If you enjoyed this podcast, feel free to leave a review or click the share button to share with others.